What's going on, guys? There was in a block in the garage on the shop truck and this off-road bumper from Hooke Road. I've got all the hardware laid out in front of you here. You'll need a 19mm or 3/4 inch socket and or wrench for installing these fasteners. These are the bumper brackets to the bumper and also to the truck. 10mm for these nuts, which back up to these 5/32 fasteners. They're hex head here, so you'll need your hex key or Allen wrench, whichever you prefer. 5/32 here. These are for mounting the fog lights to the bumper. And then here we've got 14mm or 9/16 bolts here. And then these nuts right here are 13mm or 1/2 inch. For removing the bumper from your truck, you'll need a 5/16, 1/4 inch, possibly a 5/8, and 18mm for removing the bumper. We'll go over that more in detail when we get to that section. Also in the manual, it says you'll need to remove this lower valance. So you will be removing your grill in order to get this lower valance off. At least that's the best way if your tabs aren't broken. You can remove it, and sometimes you'll break the tabs if you have the grill in place. So I recommend removing the grill, and all that'll come out in one piece. In the previous video, I had a question about this section of the bumper where the winch is mounted. So this section is gusseted from the bottom. They've got some bracing across there. Looks like a standard winch mount configuration. I will put the dimensions right here for you. And I think I have a winch in the shop somewhere. So if I can find that winch, I'll set it in here before we put it on the truck. If not, we'll have to do it at a later time. But just to give you an idea, that's what the winch mounting location looks like. It's got an opening for your fair lead attachment, which I'll see if that's in the winch with the winch box. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't remember because I got the winch for a different vehicle, not for this truck, but it will work for demonstration purposes. So anyway, that is the overall of the hardware needed for installing your bumper from Hooke Road. Let's go ahead and get this thing put together, and then we'll pull the truck in the shop, get the old bumper off, and get this one installed. So you'll see here the first step is to remove your factory bumper. We're actually going to skip that. We're going to go ahead and jump down here to step 2 of the bumper assembly. And you'll see, if I slide this out of the way, there is the bumper. You'll have a foam pad or an insulator that goes between the main bumper and the side bumper. It's a section that looks like that in the background of the picture. So we'll attach this here, and then we will use our 19mm or 3/4 inch fasteners from the outside to the inside. Nuts on the inside, bolts on the outside. Tighten this together, do it on both sides, and then we will move to step 3. So you'll take your bolt washer, like so, bolt washer, bolt washer. Slide them through the inside of the bumper like this. If you don't have big hands, I recommend you doing one bolt at a time. This is a little bit much. Lock nut, or lock washer, sorry, and then your standard nut on the inside. One quirky thing I came across, if quirks are your thing, or if they're not, just pay attention anyway, is that the foam gaskets are cut the same for both sides. So what that means is one side will go on the outer portion of the bumper as the other part went on the inner portion of the bumper. So I'm just showing you right here, this attaches to the wing instead of the main bumper in the case of the second piece, or if you did this piece first, it attached to the wing and the other one attached to the main bumper. So same process, same cutout, it's just they just cut it all one way because it's more efficient that way. Same process of putting the bolts in. Again, if you have big monster hands, you can probably do it with one hand. But if you have smaller hands, you may have to go one at a time. So if you're super particular, or anal, some people refer to it differently, about all your lines matching up even and all that stuff, what you'll want to do is snug your bolts up from either side first. And then after you snug everything up, snug it from the bottom or the top, and then work the bumper like this back and forth until you get all your lines lined up, because otherwise it won't line up. So just take your time, work it back and forth, and then lock it down once you're ready. Now, if you really don't care and you're just going to use the thing for off-road and beat it to death, then, as my buddy says, hammer down. Okay, for the next part of the installation, step number 3, we're going to be putting the bumper brackets onto the bumper. You'll be using 3 of your M12 by 30 by 2 inch flat washers, 3 of the D12 split rings, 3 of the M12 by 30 bolts, and the M12 nuts. Yeah, all of these are 3/4 inch fasteners. Bolts going this way, nut and lock washer on the inside. Now I do recommend on this portion that you do not over tighten your fasteners. Just get everything snug, because you have to do some adjustments once you get onto your truck to get it centered. So I'm just going to run these up until they're pretty snug, but don't crank them all the way down. You'll be able to do that once you get it installed on your truck. You may notice that this bumper is a little bit elevated when the bumper bracket is flat. That's because these brackets point down a little bit, so the bumper will sit at the correct position on the truck. It's probably going to be best to access these fasteners from the bottom of the bumper, so we're going to roll it up on its face. That way you can get better access down here to the bottom. This is also handy when it's installed on the truck, so you basically can just slide your wrench right in this socket, or right in this pocket, up to the bottom of the nut. See the nut there? Slide it right up in there, and then tighten it. You want to make sure that this moves around, so when you put it on your truck, you can easily slide it in place. Otherwise, you'll be fighting against yourself and the bumper and everything else. Slide over to the other side. Next portion is mounting the Hooke Road license plate holder / hideaway for the winch cable, which is this portion right here. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. So for this portion, you're going to be using the M6 by 16 bolts, the M6 flat washers, the nylon round spacers, and the nylon lock nut. All right. To this process, you'll have your fastener and the washer, and then this nylon goes between the 2 pieces of metal on the bracket and this. And then you got another metallic washer, and then your lock nut. There you go, you can see the order of the fasteners there. So you got your bolt, washer, nylon washer, bushing, then another washer, and the lock nut. Here we go. Alright, then flip it up, and then we will fasten it to the bumper, right where those 2 upper holes are at, here and there. There it is, in its operation stance. So step number 5 here is the winch power control box bracket. I am going to install this. I don't know if it's needed or not, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on. That way if you need it, it will be where you can get your hands on it, and you'll see how to install it. One other really cool feature is that these parts are stamped, as you can see, so that's pretty cool. Okay, finishing up the final steps. We have our brush guard, cow catcher, bull bar, whatever you want to call it. That is step number 6. And it will attach using our remaining 4 fasteners. And then once that's installed, I'll go over installing the LED light pods for the front. And that'll wrap it up. We'll get the truck in here and get the bumper swapped out. So you use your bolt with a washer at the top. And they'll position the bull bar like so. And the bolts fastened from the inside, like that. So you may want an additional set of hands so you can hold the bar and bolt it on without dropping your fasteners. Be a little bit tricky. Now we'll go check this from the other angle. That way you'll see it from the back side. All right, so here, see how I've dropped the bolts in, or studs in from the top. Then come up underneath and attach your nuts from the bottom side. Alright, final step is attaching the light pod to the bumper itself. And you've got your little light pods here. Take your pigtail, stick it through the bumper hole. Make sure you can access your light wiring. Slide it up in there like that. Grab your 5/32 little fastener here. Slide it through the hole. I recommend taking your time, getting these all lined up by hand first. Don't use any power tool because that could strip your fasteners or ruin your studs. You don't want to do that. So we'll start them all by hand. Use a cross pattern, that way you pull it in there nice and even, you don't get it cocked. That way it's nice and flush all the way around. And we'll do the same thing over on this side. Here's the finished product of the assembly. Looking pretty good, pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the truck in, get the bumper off, and see if I can find a winch to drop in there. Okay, I found my winch, but it is not for this truck. Like I said, it's for another vehicle, and it is way too small. I mean, granted, I could mount this here, but let's see here. You can see where the hole locations are at, and the hole locations here. So this is set up for a 12,000 pound or 10,000 pound winch. I think the one that I've got here is 5,500 pounds. It's for a little micro crawler that I have, or a Kia Sportage, first generation one. So that's actually what this is for. So yeah, it's way smaller than what we actually have here. But it does have a plate for the power control board. So at some point on the shop truck, maybe we'll put a 10 or 12,000 pound winch on there and it'll be ready for it. And somebody asked me about the thing for the fair lead on the front. Is there clearance for one? Here is a fair lead, which of course is not the same size. It's smaller, considerably smaller. But I would say yes, with the fair lead attachment, the thickness of it, you can still fold down the license plate bracket. Now, if you've got a synthetic rope, it's probably fine. Like this one's got a synthetic rope, so the attachment for it won't be huge. I know there's a hook in here somewhere. Oh yeah, there's the hook. So with this hook, it'll fold down underneath there, like so as well. So yeah, even with that, I think it'll still fold down. Granted, the 12,000 pound winch probably is a little bit bigger, but there's roughly an inch and a quarter from here to there. So if it sticks out a little bit, probably won't make a big difference. I think that it'll work for just about any winch that you need to use, as long as you don't have anything too bulky. So we'll say that it will work just fine. Maybe we'll verify that in the future. Anyway, let me get the truck in here so we get this bumper on. Oh, hey, it's the shop truck. Yeah, if you guys don't know about this 1990 model K1500, I'll put a link at the top of the screen. Get you caught up. We're gonna go ahead and pull the grill out and pull the bumper off, and then we're gonna put this Hooke Road bumper on the shop truck. Y'all don't know how to open up an OBS Chevy hood. What are you watching the video for? So you pull the release lever and then you tap it right there. Now when I first put this truck together, I pulled the release lever, popped up every time. These latches get a little stuck, so just throw you a little bit of lubricant in here and that'll open up. Anyway, these up here are 7 millimeters. Here here, and there's one down here, and there may be two others. I don't remember. But anyway, we'll pop these off, pull this grill out, and I'll pull this lower balance of the grill out. Then we can get down to the bolts for the bumper. We're going to take the bumper off and then pull the brackets out. So I should make a disclaimer here. This is a 90 model truck, so it's 88 to 92, 93. There is a facelift. The grill's slightly different. The removal's about the same, but you may not be able to remove this with this. And these grills slide this way into this lower valance, and you should be able to pull them out. On the 90 model trucks, you can remove this at one time. I don't remember on the facelift if it comes out at one time or if it could potentially damage something. So check out another video on how to remove your grill from a 93, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 Classic. Then once you get these out, there's a couple lamps you're going to want to remove, like your lower turn signals. So you just squeeze and twist on those. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Probably can't. Let me see here. There we go. So down in here, you're going to twist this counterclockwise. It comes out of the running light. And then your turn signals, you just squeeze these at the top and the bottom like that, and then turn them counterclockwise and they'll come right out of there. Just get those lamps down out of the way. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, in doing this, you will reveal the 18mm bolts that are in the actual bumper itself. And you've got one up here, one here, one here, one there, and then there's one at the bottom and one at the bottom, which I actually don't have the bottom ones in except for one over there, because I think this bumper was twisted or my brackets were twisted, one of the two. But we'll grab an 18mm and get these bolts out, and then we'll slide the bumper off of there, and then we'll get the bumper brackets out, and we can slide the Hooke Road bumper in. Okay, so we're removing your bumper brackets just real quick. After you get the bumper off there, right down in there are 3 bolts. They're 21mm, and there's another one or 2 that are there. I think those are 18s. That takes this side bracket off here, and the 21s remove this one here. Did not see in the instructions if you need to remove these outer brackets. I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the way because they don't bolt up to the new bumper. It only slides in the slots. Basically looks like a C-channel there. So when you slide this bracket out, this is where the hook bumper bracket slides into. Oh man, I need some wire loom. Yep. Looks like 30 plus years is really taking a toll on the old plastic loom. Alright, anyway, that bumper bracket slides right in there into that pocket, and then we'll bolt it back up on the truck. So let me get these other brackets out of the way, and we'll go ahead and do that. That thing's a little heavy. I don't have another set of hands, so you could use a stool or a workbench. I think I got something I can use to put this thing on right quick. I know some people in the comment section, 3 wheels, we don't have one of those. Yeah buddy, I didn't either. But doing all those doors and stuff, I said I had to figure something out. Figure something out I did. I got a door lift a while back, putting doors on and off cars, and it comes in handy. Even stuff that's not doors, like this behemoth of a bumper, which even at its max lift, still is not high enough because the truck's in there. So if you gotta lift the truck, call your buddy, because you're gonna need a set of hands to put this thing on there. It's taller than a workbench, because I looked at my workbenches. So you can do that, saw horses, blocks, wood, logs, friends, buddies, maybe even one of your enemies, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna slide this thing up here and attempt to slide it in those two ports right there. You have to take out the corner of these on your truck, this little corner piece. It's a 1/4 inch fasteners. There's one here that cuts from the back side and two that go up into the fender. So two at the top and one right here that you remove from the fender well area. So there you go. Make sure you get those off. You'll need those out of the way. Same thing on the other side over there. Down where the bumper bracket mounts at, which is right here. We're just going to take our bolt, drop it through the frame, and use our nut to capture it on the bottom, like we did right there, and then we'll tighten those up. There's one hole on the inside that doesn't really line up with anything on the frame, back on this side. I'll just go under and take a picture of that. May drill a hole through and then run a bolt from the outside to the inside. Just bolt that one in there, and that should take care of everything. I'll go ahead and tighten this thing up. We'll see how it looks on the truck. There it is. I'm going to move the truck outside so we can get a better look at it. The fitment's pretty decent. I think that I would probably leave the portion that goes from here down to the bumper on. Kind of fill in this gap, especially on the sides. So I have a little bit of adjustments to do, but I had some adjustments to do on the original bumper on my truck, so that may be why this one doesn't fit as well. It's possible that it got popped in the front. I know the bumper was a little bit twisted originally, so I replaced the bumper, and as you saw when I pulled my original bumper off, not all the holes were bolted in, or all the bolts were in the bolt holes. So because of that, it's probably why I'm having fitment issues. I think the bumper itself is straight. I checked it out before I put it on and looked to be straight, so I'll have to do some shimming and or adjustment. But let's get outside and take a look at this thing. There it is. I will say that this bumper is pretty sweet. It looks good, fits good, and it is winch ready. So if you guys have your winch, drop it in there, it's ready for action. I will pick up a winch to put on this bumper now that I have the bumper for the truck, and we will do some testing further with it in the future. But I'm impressed. So shout out to Hooke Road for sending me this really cool off-road bumper. This is one really nice piece. It looks really good with the square lines of this OBS truck. Gives it a nice rugged look without being too over the top, too aggressive. And also, you can clear 34s, possibly even 35s, because I've got 34s on here now and they are not even close to rubbing. So if you want to run 35s with no lift and just maybe adjusting your keys or with some lift keys, you can definitely do it with this front bumper because it clears everything. Thanks again to Hooke Road for sending me this awesome off-road bumper. My name's Erwin. This is Three Wheels in a Block. We're giving back. But time is taken away. We'll see you soon.